Hello everybody, my name is Beatriz Bravo and I'll be talking about the amazing engineer Robert Fulton. As an engineer, Robert had two great inventions. He invented the submarine warfare and the torpedoes. But first, I will be giving you a little bit of a background about the engineer. Robert was born in Pennsylvania in the United States in 1765. He was the first one of his family to get an education. He was the first one of his family actually to learn how to read and write. By the age of 10, it was obvious to his mother that Robert did not care as much for books as he cared for the handiwork, since by this early age he would hammer out the lead from pieces of sheet metals that came on his way and make pencils. By the age of 14, he was already familiarized with the gunsmith, and by the time of his 21st birthday, he decided to go to London and then Paris to sell his idea of freedom of the sea to the British and French government. The idea of freedom of the sea was stuck in his mind, therefore he had given much thought about inventing the submarine warfare and the torpedoes. The first torpedo was 70 pounds of powder and it was a great success according to the inventor. He called them the automobile or self-moving torpedoes. However, the British nor the French governments were interested. Robert built the first submarine, or diving boat as he called it, in the winter of 1800 and 1801. And decided to show it to the world in the following summer. The first submarine was able to enter channels 35 feet deep, and for this early stage this was remarkably excellent. The depth was determined using a barometer, measuring the external pressure, and air was renewed using a reservoir which contained atmospheric air compressed 200 times its volume. Even though he was making great progress, the British and the French were still not interested, and therefore he decided to go back to America, where he found the current president, Thomas Jefferson, to be interested on this project. And after obtaining the American government's support, he decided to proceed. Robert executed 7 experiments before he was happy with the outcomes of the submarine. And here is a summary of them. On his very first experiment, he had a gun 2 feet long and an inch in diameter, loaded with a lead ball and an ounce of powder. He then covered it with a tin tube and placed it 3 feet underwater. Before the gun, he placed a plank 4 inches thick and 18 inches from the muzzle. And at the time of firing, the ball went through this plank. And then after, a plug was placed at the end of the gun to prevent water from entering the barrel. By the time of his 4th experiment, Robert replaced the guns to be cannons. An airbox was surrounding the cannons, making it possible for them to go 4 feet underwater. The box was placed 12 feet from the target. The target was hit and the gun not injured, considering this a great success and improvement. And by the 7th experiment, he placed 2 large calibers able to fire the heavy projectiles or self-moving torpedoes on either side of the diving boat, loaded it with 12 pounds of powder, and placed the gun 10 feet from the target and 2 feet underwater. He then fired. The bolt came out at 650 feet per second. You can only imagine what happened to the target. And this is how he introduced the idea of firing the enemy's ship underwater. The President of the United States and the Congress described it as one of the most important military discoveries of the century. The idea was sent to the Secretary of the Navy by Fulton himself. The Secretary agreed, and this is how a new era of warfare was born. Thank you very much. I hope Robert Fulton's invention of the submarine warfare was as interesting for you as it was for me.